Why start developing your project with ChatGPT or Google Gemini? First, ChatGPT and Google Gemini are available in many countries and regions. Second, they offer interaction with audio, video, image, and different types of documents. And both platforms offer a playground that is a special space for developers to interact, train model, test configuration, and adjust settings. But here is another interesting point. Google Gemini offers 1 million tokens for free. And with this, you can offer free demos or service of your application. On the other hand, ChatGPT has a significant advantage because many providers use the same style of code for interacting with the models. This means by learning to work with one API, you're already learning to work with multiple providers. But before we can start coding, we need to get our access key. And during the video, I'll include an extra tip that you don't want to miss it. First, let's get the Google Gemini access key. And for that, visit Google AI Studio. Click on the sign in button and log into your Gmail account. After signing, you will be redirected to the playground. Just click on Get API Key, accept all the terms, and then just click the button to generate your access key. Copy your key and put it in a place secure and don't share it with any user. After getting your keys, you can now access the playground. There, you will find code snippets, explore different options, and adjust parameters. In future video, we'll dive deeper into how to use the playground effectively. For now, focus on testing your prompt. As I explained it in the previous video, why prompts are the heart of every AI application. To get the ChatGPT API key, you need to go to OpenAI documentation, log in or create an account. Then you will be redirected to the documentation. Click on Dashboard, API Keys, but before you can generate any key, you will need to verify a phone number. And you can set your key if it is for personal use or for a service account, like a backend or a SaaS service. And you can set the key for different access level or for read-only access. I'm gonna set it for personal use and use the default project. Then just copy your key and remember to keep it secure and don't share it with anybody. But before you can actually use the key, you will need to add a minimum credit of $5 to your account. Other providers will also ask you to include your credit card information. Except Google Gemini that gets you started for free. Once you get your keys, you will have access to the playground. And let me repeat, the playground is your main place to test and build your app. You can adjust different settings, try out various models. I recommend starting with the 4.0 mini. Keep in mind that the models you can use might depend on your access limit. If we use the same example for an app that generates resume automatically, we can set the AI behavior in the system method. We also have the option to enhance our prompt. Just paste your example prompt and then click in the code button, and this will generate a code that covers about 30 to 40% of your application. And you can switch the code if you want it for JavaScript or Python. And you can follow the exact same step in Google AI Studio. The only difference is that the code can be generated in more programming language. Keep in mind that Google Gemini and ChatGPT have different configuration. And here's the bonus tip that I have for you in this video. We're going to work with the code snippet to better understand how to interact with the AI model. We're going to set up a simple Node application to run the code snippet. So open your code editor and make sure you have Node.js installed on your computer. Create a folder that will hold all ChatGPT configuration. Then you want to run the command npm init-y. This will create a package.json file to install your dependency. Then head back to your terminal and run the command npm install OpenAI and .env. Once the dependencies are installed, head back to the package.json file. And here we're going to do two things. In the script, defining type as module so we can use modern JavaScript syntax in the project. In the script section, add a start script with the command noindex.js. And make sure to create an index.js file in your ChatGPT folder. Now head back to the playground and copy the code snippet and paste it into your index.js file. Before running the code, we need to configure our secret key. Import and call the config function from .env at the top of the index.js file. Then in your project folder, create a .env file. Add the following variable with your access key information and make sure you have credits and your OpenAI account to use the API properly. Head back to the index file and add a console log to display the model response. Remember, you can always check the official OpenAI documentation for any help information. Now that everything is set up, open your terminal and run npm start. If everything is set up correctly, you should see the AI response in your terminal. Alright, Pay close attention to this code snippet because we're going to be using this exact setup for building our ad and interacting with different AI models from various providers. Now, let's break down the key things you need to know. First, we got the model. Depending on your access level, you can pick from different models. Some models are lightweight and quick, others are more powerful but require a higher access. Next, there is the message array. This one is super important and think of it like the model's memory. It holds the entire conversation history, and if you want the AI to remember the content, you gotta pass all previous interactions in this array. Inside this array are the message or prompt that we pass to interact with the model. Each message is an object, and here's how it works. The first key you will see is the role. This defines who's speaking, whether it's a user or the model. But the first message usually has the role of system, and the system message is where we set the AI behavior. For example, you can tell it to act like a pro developer or a marketing expert. Now, keep in mind that some newer models like the O1 and O3 and their mini version don't use the system message anymore. The next key is the content. This can either be a simple text string or an array of objects. For the user, it's basically the task or prompt you're giving to the AI, and for the AI, it's the response it generates. You can even specify what type of content you're passing, whether it's a plain text, a URL, or another format. We'll dive deeper into this in future videos. For now, just remember that the content is your prompt or the AI response. In this example, I'm changing the AI's behavior to tell jokes about programming. And I'll pass a prompt that says, I'm a programmer who knows JavaScript and Python to see what happens. And that's how you do a basic setup to interact with ChatGPT model. Pretty simple, right? Now let's switch gears and work with Google Gemini's model. To continue with the Gemini setup, we're going to repeat some of the previous steps. First, initialize your Node project using npm init-y. Next, we need to install the .env and the Google Generative AI package. In your package.json file, add a start script with the command node index.js. Next, inside your Gemini project folder, create an index.js file and then head back to Google AI Studio, copy the provided code snippet and paste it into your index file. Also, Gemini and ChatGPT use different configuration. OpenAI provide a module-based JS and Google use common JS. The real difference is how they interact with their model. I can easily transform this code into modern JavaScript by changing the import statement and adding a type field in the package.json to use ES modules. Then import the config function from .env and call it at the top of your file. After that, go to your project folder and create a .env file, and inside this file, create a new Gemini API Key variable with your access key information. I made a simple mistake, so we need to head back to our index file and update the Gemini import by adding the curly bracket. With everything set up, we can go back to our terminal and run npm install. Once you see the response, you know that your application is now interacting with Google AI model. Let's break the code step by step. First, we need to initialize the model by selecting the model that we're going to use, and we can also pass an instruction to configure the AI's behavior. The generation config object contains optional parameters that we can use to control how creative the AI's output will be. It also lets us set limits for the maximum length for both the input and output of the response. But we'll explore this setting in more detail in future videos. This line starts a new chat session with the Gemini model, and it takes two objects that include the generation config. The history array holds the complete conversation with Gemini, and each entry in this array is an object with two properties. The role, who indicates who is speaking, if the user or the model, and part containing the actual content of the message or the prompt. Before we can continue with other topics and provide specific details, we need to develop our own application. So in the next video, we will develop 3 applications designed by a model that I'm training. So remember, if you want to learn to create your own AI application, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on social media.